When most of us think about the new year, we think about making financial strides or getting better with money. And I know what you're thinking. Need to make more money or save better. Now, those things are good, but sometimes the step to a very different financial life is a few questions away. Now, I'd love to take full credit for what I benefited from last year, but while I was discussing the Bajan Renovation house, which we all know is financed with Republic Bank, they offered me a refinance facility. I had no clue what this was, but trust and believe, I think that I really have won with this. But one thing I did realize, a lot of people don't know what refinancing is, how it can benefit you, who it appeals to, where do you even start? So it's the beginning of a new year, and I know we have taken care of those of you who are thinking about getting on the property ladder, those of you who are renting, even those of you who want to start a restaurant, because you know we have gone through it. I want to make sure, or should I say we want to make sure that for those of you who have properties, there are tools here for you. So I'm Kelly Johnley, and we are with Republic Bank discussing property refinancing on Bajan Renovation. All right, guys, so today, as I said, I'm at Republic Bank and I am meeting with Kevin Freeman and Nikita Norgrove, and they're going to help me. Actually, they're going to explain to you, but I like to think that they're helping me. They're going to help us better understand how home refinancing works. I will be sharing some numbers, which are my real numbers, just to give you context. And to the best of our abilities, we are going to make sure that you have the tools and resources to make better financial decisions this year. Where do we start, guys? You know, they say let's start at the beginning. What is home refinancing?
Well, home refinancing is when a homeowner takes out a new facility, a new loan, and replaces their existing mortgage. So this new loan generally would have better terms, right? So the goal of this new facility is where the person can benefit from lower monthly payments, and they can actually get cash out of the new loan.
Oh. Now I'm going to ask the questions that I asked when I first got my refinance. So you're all going to see me here as the novice here. Sometimes I sound like I know everything. So when you're refinancing a loan, does it have to be a loan that I have with Republic Bank, or can you refinance a loan that I have with another lender? So let's say I have my mortgage elsewhere, which was the case for me. I had 2 mortgages elsewhere. I bring those mortgages to you, or is that how it works?
Well, usually we would have the conversation with the customer, and we would see what facilities they have across the different financial institutions. So you might have a facility with us, you might have a facility outside of Republic Bank. And we would basically look at the 2 facilities and then do an analysis and tell you what we can offer.
Okay, but I can take if I'm with somebody else, I can come to you?
Yes, you can bring it over to Republic Bank.
Okay. Now, the other question I have is this, because we were talking a bit off camera, and you were saying that when I refinance a property, it releases the equity, yes. You know? And we always like these equities. What is the equity in the property?
So equity is basically, the layman terms of it, is the current market value or what you would have purchased the property for.
Okay, so the $200,000 I bought the house for.
Versus what you currently owe the lender.
Okay,
so you might owe the lender $100,000.
Okay.
And your purchase price might have been $200,000. So the difference between the two would be the equity that exists in the facility.
Okay, I'm going to bring to you my documents that say I bought this house for $200,000. Right now I have a balance of $100,000, and I want to refinance it to benefit from the equity that is in the property. What happens next? What do I have to do besides that? What information do you need from me?
Well, Kelly, there will be a number of documents that the lenders would usually request. Some of them include a recent valuation report on your property to determine the current market value. We will need to get your financial information for salaried persons, job letter, pay slips, self-employed individuals, income tax assessments, and financial statements. Additionally, as well, it is a refinance and we want to clear debts. So with that being said, we will need proof of your outstanding debts.
Okay.
So this would involve statements from all the other lenders confirming the balance is owed. There are some additional documents which will be required, things like land tax to ensure the land tax is up to date, water payments are also required to be up to date as well.
Okay, so you mentioned a few things I'm going to stick a pin in and come back to, because you talk about clearing debts, and we all like to start the year with somebody telling us we could clear our debts. Now, Kevin made it sound like, you just putting together a nice little file for him. I'm going to just tell you all the truth, right? The difference between, and this just, don't listen to my conversation, difference between doing a refinance, right, and buying a property with the assistance of a realtor is this: you are selling your debt to the bank. So all of that nice running around that the realtor who you did not want to get was doing for you in terms of getting all the documents from the seller, you now have to go and find all for the bank, okay? But it benefits you in the long run. Now, something that surprised me is that when the loan is refinanced, the mortgage is refinanced, it refinances at the balance of what you owe. I don't know why I thought, okay, I borrowed $200,000 and I could now get another loan for $200,000. It was a very magical experience. I listened to about 4 days to process it. When I realized that the new loan facility that I would have with Republic is based on what is owed, meaning, as you said, Kevin, you have a lower monthly payment, and it was a better interest rate too. Thanks, sir. It was a better interest rate, and it allowed me to remain on the same time repayment. So it really freed out cash flow. When people come to you and benefit from a refinance, what are they using this money for? You could use it for anything.
Refinance can be used for a myriad of options. Most popular persons may use it to purchase a vehicle, pay for education, further their studies or that of their children. Additionally, travel expenses, weddings, expenses, anything of that nature.
Because it's your money from your house.
It's your money,
It's my money from my house. But, I think it's so good that people know about this now, because the truth is usually we're younger when we take on a mortgage, and you go through several phases of life and your mortgage is going with you. I don't think people realize that this mortgage can actually turn around and work for you as well. Like you were sharing an example with me, I don't know if you want to share it with everybody, about a customer you had that was able to really reposition themselves financially with a refinance. Go ahead, tell us.
Right. So my particular customers, a couple, they had current monthly obligations of $5,200 a month. They were able to benefit from a refinance to assist with debt consolidation, and it took their $5,200 payments to $4,200
So
a monthly. So
$1,000.
$1,000 in cash flow they're freeing up on a monthly basis.
And the thing is, cash flow is so important. You hear about it in
Cash is
businesses. Business talk about cash flow all the time. And I always remember from that one accounts class that I listened to, right? I caught up with me later in life. The one accounts class that I listened to, the lecturer said, listen, businesses do not go out of business for lack of profit or lack of ideas. Businesses shut down when they run out of money, right? And I don't think that as private individuals, we really study cash flow as much, because you could be asset rich and cash poor, where I temporarily am at the moment. But the point is, you do need cash to facilitate your life.
Because remember, Kelly, when you would have first gotten the mortgage, when you would have first acquired the mortgage, you would have gotten a facility for like 500,000, for example, or 400,000
Okay.
over 30 years at the interest rate. So you would have been paying, let's say, $2,000 or $3,000 on the mortgage. So some persons actually refinance the facility and keep the monthly payment existing, which pays down the facility faster. So there's several benefits that you can get from refinancing.
That's a benefit, and you touched on one. Now, I didn't know about this until one of my friends with money, because it's very important to have friends with money, because people that got money seem to know how to keep it, right? He said to me, why you don't refinance your vehicle when you do the mortgage? I was like, what do you mean refinance my vehicle with the mortgage? He said, no, all of your major payments, if you are doing a refinance with the bank, put your vehicle payments in there. I was like, explain to me, what do you mean by that? He said, no, you have a mortgage payment of $3,200 and you have a car payment of $1,200. Most likely, if you do the refinance by taking the vehicle to the bank and saying you wish to use the equity in the house to refinance the car, your mortgage payment will probably only go up by about $400. And he was right, because he clearly did this before. The benefit means now that I have an extra $800 in cash flow, and I am paying the interest rate of the house, right? I want to show off of my interest rate just in case y'all didn't get it, but I'm just saying it was a good one, right? And now you have the $800, right? A lower interest rate, and you own the vehicle.
You own the car.
Yes.
Yep.
I was like, what do you mean? He said, no, you own the vehicle. He said, yeah, Kelly, you could sell the car. So I said, he must be lying, Lord, because clearly he does not know. And I immediately pick up the phone and call my good up lender at the bank, and I says, tell me something. Who owns the car? She said, you. No, I said, do we own it? You know, the way that we own the house? She said, no. She said, what you have done is that we have a greater interest in the house.
Correct.
We don't own the car. So I said, you mean I could sell my car?
Yeah.
And she said yes. And I probably asked, listen, she said it on the phone. I sent her a WhatsApp, send an email, copy and she boss, because you ain't gonna send me down the wrong road with this foolishness. I was like, wow.
Because we already have the security in place.
In the house.
Yeah.
Y'all see how this math is mathing? Telling you, it changed my whole life. So the next thing I want to know from you is, I mean, we touched on some of the benefits, but for something that, at least for me, was such an eye-opener, do people come to the bank asking for this facility, or it is usually when you have a discussion with them?
Usually when we have a discussion, much persons don't really come to the branch to ask for a home refinance. Normally when they come is because they have a financial situation and they will ask a question. And then when we look at what's there for them, then we can advise them about the home refinancing.
Okay, and you said it is usually once you have at least 20% equity in your property.
Yes, it benefits more when the homeowner has some room, because it means that you've invested more.
Right.
So you're not as likely to walk away. So once you have more than 20% within the property, that is somebody that we would more likely look for, best suited for.
So this is a good facility for someone. I mean, everybody's financial situation is different, but usually once you're at least 10 years into a mortgage, that's usually a good space where you could probably just roughly look at the numbers and say, hey, you know, it's starting to go down. Yes. So something I would just like to share on a side, a part of the reason why I think I was able to benefit from the refinance, even though I did not have my properties as long as 10, 15 years, is because I was making additional payments to the principal.
Yes.
And that created the gap.
Yes.
Yeah.
People ask often, can they make additional payments to their mortgage? If so, how do they do it? If you can share for me.
Yeah, you can make principal payments anytime. You can just walk into the branch. You can call over the phone and you can say, well, I have excess cash on an account.
They get
and
a bonus, a Christmas gift.
Some persons, they get gratuity. Some persons get a payout. They get inheritance. And they actually say, well, I've gotten some money here and I want to inject it into my facility. And then they want you to recalculate and tell me, how I can benefit.
I needed you to say it because I have told people before. I'm much like when I was told that I could refinance the vehicle. I said, "Must be a lie." Making an additional payment to your mortgage principal is really as simple as that. You contact your lender, you send an email, and it can be a one-off, or it can be something that you do over quarterly. Or what I did is that as I paid off some debts, because I was so accustomed to not having money, right, from paying these debts forever, that as I cleared a debt, so if a debt had a $250 payment or a $500 payment, I just made that the extra mortgage payment. So I would have a payment that would come off at the middle of the month, and then the real mortgage payment that comes off at the end. So that's another thing that you can do. And I know what you're asking, is the bank going to penalize you? They're not going to penalize you. When you look back at your mortgage letter, which I'm sure you have thrown away, you are going to see that it lightly says that you are only penalized if you pay off your mortgage within 5 years. I am pretty confident that I'm not going to. Okay. So all of these additional payments really help to, as you said, create equity in the property, because now you own more of it.
Right.
We're out here changing lives together.
Yes, we are.
Now, can you tell me quickly, because what I hear more often is a home equity loan. What's the difference between a mortgage refinance, which I understand,
Right.
and a home equity loan? Because they might offer me that.
Right. They did a refinance.
Yes.
I guess too, because you were switching, so that's why they did the refinance. But the difference is that a home equity is actually going to be a separate facility. So your mortgage stands alone, and then the equity. So if you, for example, if you would have purchased your property for $500,000, and you currently owe the bank $300,000, it means that you have $200,000 there wiggle room.
Okay.
So we would probably give you, if you want to, for example, an education loan, purchase a vehicle, and you only need like $100,000. Well, we already have the security in place. So we open a new facility, which is a home equity, and it carries the same terms as the mortgage. So it mirrors the mortgage, basically.
Got you. But it is a separate loan.
Yes, it's a separate facility.
As opposed to a refinance,
which we close out the old loan.
You close the old mortgage, and you are essentially using the equity in the property to reissue a loan.
Correct.
Not release the cash in a separate loan.
Correct.
I got it.
And in the example that Nikita would have just given, in the instance where the bank already holds the equity, there's no need to go back to the attorneys. So the transaction would run very fast. Yeah.
Well, you should have never told me so, but it's a fresh year and I want new things. But listen, so the next question, I like how you said attorneys. Who paid the legal fees for this little exercise? Because I still remember how much mine was. Wonder does give me anything to move this? Because at the end of the day, you know, right? That if I'm at another lender and I call you and you offer me a refinance at a better interest rate and the math is starting to math, the only thing that really stopping me from moving this is the legal fees. Because yes, guys, you are literally selling the debt to the bank the same way the other person was selling it to you. Who paid for this? You paid for this? Who paid for this?
Well, for switch facilities, Republic Bank is currently offering up to $20,000 in mortgage-related fees and expenses. So these fees and expenses will cover things like the legal fees.
20,000 is good though.
Yes.
Oh, it's not that was just for me. Oh, that's everybody.
Well, that's everybody switching,
for
not
switching,
just you.
yes. Right?
Oh, that was a candy thing. Okay.
Right. So this $20,000 will cover things like legal fees, valuation, insurance fees, also penalties on the side of the other lenders as well.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So now that I know that the $20,000 was not for me, I did get the $20,000 when I was switching, and for which I was very grateful, because we trying to get out of that. We ain't trying to not go and take up. But if I had $20,000 sitting down, I would not be here. You know?
Right, correct.
And then with the new mortgage, I got $10,000. You see how nice that they were at it, you see? So anyone coming to you now, until further notice, they can benefit from the legal fees that will help to offset. And if you're not really familiar with legal fees, $20,000 is a good start. The truth is that you would really have to have a property that is more in the $500,000 space to have to need to add to that. So I was able to get through with mine. But $20,000, if you are bringing over something that is under 5, will most likely cover it. Okay. So you're here changing lives and blessing people early in the new year. So I want to do a quick recap so that when they come to you, right, that they're ready. A home refinance refinances an existing mortgage at the balance or what you currently owe.
Oh, correct.
The bank is interested in knowing what your equity is, i.e. the difference between what you purchased the property for and what you have remaining. Most likely, you will be benefiting from a better interest rate, a longer payment term, but definitely lower monthly payments.
Yes.
Like that. You can take other assets into your refinance. So for example, it can be children's college fees. You can have a budget if you wanted to go and you could take it and start a business. As Kevin tell me, I could do what I want because it's my money.
It's your money, correct.
Okay.
Yes.
You can refinance your vehicle, which will also, as we know, most people know, the interest rates on vehicles is like a vehicle is like half a house. Yeah. So you can now bring that in and that will help to improve your cash flow. But the process for making sure I prepare you all here so y'all don't have to, y'all need to be surprised. The process for a refinance is very similar to a mortgage process, right? So a lot of the information that I would have had to share when I was buying a property for the first time, you now need, especially if the facility does not exist for you. So all the information that I would have given the other lender, the valuations, etc., now need to come to us. This is not so much a surprise, but something that might please you all. So much like when you go for a mortgage, you will sign your commitment letter. All right. So let's say at the time that you sign your commitment letter, you owe $100,000 on this property that is being refinanced. Until the blessed day that this refinance closes, you will continue to make your mortgage payments with your current lender as normal. But here is the sweetest part, right? The sweetest part is that, remember, the bank is refinancing you on the $100,000 that you've committed to them. If you go ahead over the course of a year, a couple of months, and pay $20,000 towards the mortgage that they're taking, the bank is gear back. Mm-hmm. Because that was not what they were lending you for. And I woke up to a sum of money that I went home and lay down. It's like, we can move on with our lives. So all we have to do is contact you.
Just contact, yes.
And say, I want to explore my options. Mm-hmm. I want to ask some questions to see how I can make better money moves in 2025 with Republic Bank. Yes. I'm Kelly Johnley, and this is Bajan Renovation.